VCR Redux will begin in T-minus 5 minutes.
What the fart is VCR Redux?
It's the show where we take movies from the VCR era and bring them back to today.
Well, how do we do that?
Well, we start by talking about a VHS classic, and usually you'll say something like,
I haven't been this uncomfortable since I watched Meatballs 4, Meatballs to the Rescue with my parents. Oh yeah, or you'll say something stupid like,
I wish we lived in a world where the Garbage Pail Kids made as many movies as the Muppets.
but I know you'll always see it through with a positive attitude.
I hate this movie, I hate being here, I hate all of this. Oh, Jamie Kennedy. Oh, well, shit. Well, let's go for this.
He was in Son of Mask. This is genius.
I am not a gamer. I'd rather read books. I'm just
Ian's like the old lady that's like, I got video game monsters, I got toy monsters in here.
As long as we respect the passion and the artistry that went into these films.
You know, obviously they took this movie, it's 93, right? You're like, what do you want to see in your Mario movie? And they're like, oh, we want it to be grim, we want a lot of death, we want tits and ass.
Oh, and then we start the pitch ideas with modern day sequels like
Weekend at Bernie's 3, Cocaine Mountain.
Sometimes we take it kinda seriously.
I'll watch a Paul Verhoeven alien movie.
oh my gosh, that alien will have more vaginas than anything you've ever seen in your life. Sometimes this Hawaiian shirted fool will pitch something stupid like,
I would take out the virtual reality stuff and just have it be about Jeff Fahey mowing the lawn.
Sometimes the best pitches come from the live chat.
Alex Bonafonte also pitches Grand Theft Starfighter Vice Galaxy.
wait, I thought I had the best pitches.
And what happens at the end of the movie? The ultimate fart. The fart that the warmth goes like all the way down to your socks.
The only rules are, there are no rules. Sometimes we cross over franchises.
Only the truck from Tango and Cash can kill Christine.
And sometimes we travel back in time.
Like 1995 is missing a good Universal Soldier sequel.
But you never know what we're gonna pitch next.
What do you want? Do you want Daniel Stern behind like a muzzled mask? Like,
We all know it should be Pesci behind the mask, and like underneath the mask, you should hear him going like fritter, 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 fritter.
you are so proud of yourself for that one. I can't stand you.
I would also love to see a Charles Bronson version of It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
Direct to DVD.
If you made a shot-for-shot remake of Scarface with Goofy as Al Pacino, it would be amazing.
Oh my God.
Doris, you need me to be the bad guy.
It's like the worst 1987 Disney movie Disney's ever made. Schlongo, directed by Jim Wynorski.
Like, I would watch a whole bowl of that.
Do the John Holmes story. Add a comedy spin to it.
Wow, the Wonderland murders are so funny.
I'd watch it on my mobile.
Something happens and he goes into a coma. He gets like, hit by a car or something. I know this is dark, but like, bear with me. He's got to go on.
Did you just go like Hard to Kill with Ferris Bueller?
I'd watch it on my iPad.
If you want to just like throw in the kitchen sink, it all works. Like Alien versus Predator versus RoboCop, like if that works. Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, that works.
Alien versus Predator versus Ernest, that works.
That works.
I respect everything you just said. I need David Silver and Terry Silver and the Sloan family all learning the Quicksilver, but they're doing it in Breakin' 3 Hydraulic Boogaloo. And it's underwater. It's gonna be incredible. Eat your fucking shit out, James Cameron. I got the underwater movie you can't touch.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mr. Toxie Goes to Washington.
My ass would be in the theater tomorrow.
If Harley Quinn gets 7 movies, then Tank Girl should get at least 70.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I mean, why should we even bother with Look Who's Talking when Air Bud is soaring to new highs?
All I know is I want Danny McBride.
I'd want him doing anything other than writing Halloween movies, honestly. Anything that keeps him away from that fucking job, I'm for it.
Just let him talk out of his butt. I don't care how he does it.
I'd rather not.
Austin Powers doing the Macarena.
That would be the opening credits. Come on.
But we have not yet had Die Hard on a half pipe. What if John McClane Jr. was a pro skateboarder and also an avid machine gun enthusiast? Skater Die Hard.
What up, virtual people? Welcome to the 195th episode of VCR Redux. We take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2025. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most complaints, film professor Ian Klink.
This show is clear.
And we have two radical guests on the show tonight. First up, the third leg of our VCR tripod himself, Mac Daddy Mickey Torres is Mick back on the show.
What's up, everyone?
And rounding out this righteous crew, the VCR's favorite champion of Street Fighter II Pop Punk Edition, Steven Zangief Anderson is back on the show.
My child.
Looking less and less like Zangief and more like Zelda every week on the show. Well, if you couldn't tell by all our fantastic...
This is all talk like that this whole show. Let's all talk about
yeah, this is like bad Arnold impressions, bad Borat. We're going to do bad Zelda Rubinstein. Because if you couldn't tell, folks, we're here today to turn up the TV, snort up some snow, and learn about the legend of Zelda Rubinstein. That's right, folks. This world needs Poltergeist 4, and we're here to give it to you. But before Ian says that Am Ramsey is the gas station version of Zelda Rubinstein, we got a dish on how Poltergeist came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course that goes double for you at home and everyone watching in the live chat. Was it love at first Laserdisc, Vital VHS? Hit us up in the chat and let us know how Poltergeist came into your lives. But Steve, how and when did you first get poltergeisted?
So I only know this because the story has been brought up to me before, but I think I mentioned on this show that my mom was a big horror fan movie. Nobody would ever watch them with her. So they really, really young. She had to talk me into this movie. She had to use the rating as a thing of being like, this movie's for babies. Are you a baby? Like, that's, yeah. Like, you know, yeah, I remember she's brought up that she did that. She like tricked me into it being like, it's a PG movie. You can watch it. Don't be a baby about it.
So your mom basically bullied you. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. She bullied me into watching this, and I got through it according to her or whatever, and I was fine with it. So we did a and I do kind of remember this. We did a double feature with this and Cat's Eye. She was like, "You're fine, right?" So she's like, "You're fine. You're fine." So we're gonna watch Cat's Eye now.
You are fine because because you still haven't quit smoking, and you know.
I know, right?
Nothing scares you, sir.
I don't know how. I gotta ask her how young that was, but it was. I mean, I remember really young. Yeah,
good double feature.
Yeah. Oh, that is actually pretty quality.
If you are going to introduce a little kid to horror movies, Poltergeist isn't the worst.
That's fair.
It's very. I mean, it's got the Spielberg wink to it that I think helps.
There's a certain shelf of 80s horror that's like accessible for kids, and Poltergeist is definitely on it. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other movies on that shelf, Lady in White, but we'll get to that.
Oh my gosh, Lady in White!
Now, yes, this is why we're friends.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. All right, Mickey, you're very young, too young to have been a McDate. Was this like a McDonald's date? Was this a play date movie? You know?
No, this was like Home Alone HBO. It was like late night, like literally, like, you know, you're staying up all night. It might have been like summer or whatever case may be.
So we're talking HBO in the 80s, though, to be fair, right?
HBO in the 80s, HBO in the 80s, yeah.
What a wonderful time. It's like cocaine in LA or, you know, pizza in New York. Or,
you know what I love? Like I knew this, like, I mean, like, okay, so, like, remember HBO had that cool like opening to these movies, like where the HBO would be coming down the city street.
Oh, dude, I know. Do I know it,
man? So it was always like that, like next to like the X-Men '97 cartoon, like
that
theme song.
Piece
it's
of
the
music,
best theme song ever.
That little piece of music, it has this little disco sound to it, which actually kind of works for it. That is the best composition in the history of disco. Is that little piece,
sure.
That HBO opening? You know.
So I just remember like
13th part 3D.
Ooh, that's a
disco
fucking solid. Yeah,
that is great. Yeah.
There's a disco Star Wars that might eat your lunch, but yeah. Sorry, continue, Mickey.
Yeah, I just remember seeing it like late night and just because that would hype me up, and then it would go to like black, and then it would have like the rating or whatever KCV or whatever, and then like the movie starts. Like I had already know like I mean, it's too young to really know what Poltergeist was, like meaning the word, but I was like I just knew that like. some shit's gonna go down. It wasn't like I was like again HBO, so you're used to like either late night, you're either watching like Spring Break or like some some like like some like like nudie comedy or something like that. You're watching that, or you're
Just
watching
the
like
use
these.
of the word nudie just took us all back in
Yeah.
time, but also aged us like 45 years
Yeah.
forward.
Or you're
In
watching
time.
some horror movie that they're not gonna put on during the day. So it's literally like
Right.
oh, we're gonna put that. Yeah, it was PG, but still it was like frightening, so to speak. And I just
Yeah.
remember just
It's got teeth
watching
for a
that.
PG horror movie.
Just
Oh,
the
definitely.
TV
Oh, yeah.
alone, the TV alone, and that's what we'll talk about it later. But like The Ring sometimes reminds me of Poltergeist in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those movies that like a lot of people are gonna bite from forever. It's just I mean, it's unquestionably a classic. What about Iowa Ian? What cornfield gas station did you watch this
Look,
movie in?
I'm not trying to be difficult when I say this, all right? But I came
Difficult?
about it through the sequels first. All right?
Okay, that's cool. That's
What
fine.
I remember the most is when I was a kid, they played, and I'm with me, it was HBO-er. What I remember is watching the guy drink a worm and then puking up a worm. All right, which
Yeah,
is
Craig T.
yeah.
Nelson, the second
2,
one, right?
or
The
sorry,
vomit
Poltergeist
monster. It
II.
almost killed him.
The other side. Uh, I don't remember it being from Poltergeist though. I just remember the guy drank a worm and puked, and I remembered the braces scene where Robbie gets the braces attack him onto the ceiling.
Yeah. How little sense did these movies make to you if you saw the sequels first?
I had no clue. And then when
There's actually like a thing that says like the best way to watch these in chronological order, and I don't think that the first one's not the first one to watch. I think it's 2, the first one to watch.
That doesn't make any sense.
like 2, 3, 1.
Because the
I
family,
think so.
the family's now a year after, and they're living with the mother because the house.
I think he's meaning like to be less disappointed.
Oh, okay. Well, then it would be
Oh,
3,
okay.
2, 1.
You know, like
yeah.
well, and that's the thing. I remember the most of like watching its entirety was Poltergeist 3. Because that they used to play on HBO during the day a lot. Because again, I know I've talked about this a lot. HBO during the day when there's only one HBO, they would try to play more family friendly or family okay movies.
I mean, I guess that's the most innocuous.
Because there'd be kids at home during the summer, right? And if they're watching HBO, kids are going to be more okay watching Poltergeist 3 than they are going to be watching, Dressed to Kill or some other really really hardcore.
No accounting for taste, god damn it.
But Poltergeist 3 is not that scary. It's not that graphic. I mean, it's got its cool moments, and when you're 5, Poltergeist 3 is kind of cool. I mean, I can't lie to you. I thought it was a cool movie. Then as I think probably, if I didn't watch it on, from like renting it from the library, I'm sure I probably rented it, from the video store. When you get older and you make the connection, like, oh, Poltergeist 3, oh, there's a first one. It's like, for me, it was like Creepshow 2. For years, I just thought there was one Creepshow, and it just had a weird title. And then I'm like,
like Creepshow 2 is like the movie that made Ian become sentient, basically. Like Ian became self-aware the day he saw the Creepshow 2.
Oh, Poltergeist. And then you find out the whole, when you start to become a Spielberg fan, you start to go like, oh, this is I thought then, and I know we'll talk about this, but I thought it was a Spielberg movie. I thought Steven Spielberg directed.
Well, I think everybody did. I think that was the idea, right? It was to promote it as a Spielberg movie.
Well, there's always been, and let's just cut it now. There's always been that controversy of did Tobe Hooper direct it or did Steven Spielberg? And what it was, and Tobe Hooper himself has said that Spielberg was on the set every day.
Right.
But it was Tobe Hooper directing it. It's just in the editing room, Toby Hooper didn't edit the movie. It was Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg
I
who
could see
edited
that.
the movie. Toby Hooper was just kind of for hire, and
Well, that's
But also,
interesting. 'Cause,
I know that Toby Hooper, when the first film came out, there was the print ads for it said like a Steven Spielberg, presents or a
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg film, and then it said directed by Toby Hooper in a font that was half the size of the Spielberg
Yeah.
font. But like that's business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the business of
well,
it.
and that's
you
and
know?
that was the deal.
People like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was not a respected film in 1981 when they were making this movie. It was like a schlock grindhouse. Like it was like if you had made porn. You'd made like Deep Throat, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was like in the eyes of the public,
Yeah.
that has changed, rightfully so. But yeah, there's a lot. There's that controversy. I love that Mick Garris is doing press for this movie, and he says Toby Hooper directed every frame. But I was just watching the True Hollywood Story, which is maybe the best episode ever.
Oh,
And even
gosh.
even Zelda Rubinstein says that Spielberg would adjust shots after almost all the time after Toby Hooper would set up shots. Spielberg would come and kind of tweak them a little bit. And just people saying they had different visions. That happens a lot. A producer and a director aren't necessarily seeing the exact same thing. I think Toby probably would have wanted a little bit more intense, R-rated. And obviously Spielberg knew the business well enough by that point.
Well, he
to
wrote
know
it.
there was no
Spielberg
PG-13.
wrote it, so Spielberg
Well,
wrote it. So
he wrote the story. He didn't write the script, though.
But I mean,
He wrote the
he
story
knew
element.
how he wanted the story to go. But it wasn't
Yeah.
only until years later that I ever even realized or knew that Toby Hooper was even attributed to directing this movie. Like
Well,
it wasn't until like,
It feels a lot more
later when I-
Spielbergian than it does.
Well,
Toby
but I
Hooper.
think but I think that's the rhythm, because here's the thing: if you look at the shots individually, right? And I'm going down a deep dive here. Some of you, I don't know if have we all seen Life Force?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, if you look at how Life Force is framed, how it's shot, if you just took individual shots from both movies and put them like side by side, they look similar.
Right.
Like if you had cut out magazine of shots from Poltergeist and shots from Space
Fangoria, like Fangoria.
Yeah, it would look. I would say it's made by the same director. It's just
the
rhythm
idea
of how it was cut.
The big white
Tell that
lights
it was
used in this alone, right? Like the
it was
big
Michael
white.
Kahn and Spielberg were doing it in Spielberg's rhythm. Like the editing and the song and the feel for this is very much E.T.
Yeah,
I would say if you watch them side by side, Poltergeist and E.T. look similar because the rhythm of how they're cut and how the story flows. I think that's why. I think if you let Toby Hooper go into the editing room with his editor, I think you'd have this movie in a different rhythm. It's like Weird Al Yankovic playing the song or Kurt Cobain. They sound the same, right? But rhythmically,
I get what you're saying.
they're
Yeah,
different.
Weird Al's got a different drummer. He's not going to have Dave Grohl on the
Yeah,
Weird Al record,
yeah.
and that alone is gonna. Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying.
I got a piping hot take for you with this or
All right.
whatever. I think that after rewatching some of these, I gotta say, I think that if they would have made these, and I know the second one has its merits. Like the second one's a fun movie too. It's got like most of the cast back, and it's a cool movie. But I think if they'd have made this an anthology series where they actually had the Poltergeist as like the titular character, maybe just carried through with the through line of like Zelda Rubinstein as being the through character through movies. I think we would have gotten like 8 or 9 of these. I think most of them would have been good. I think this would have been like a Friday the 13th marathon. I think
If
this
you
would
did-
have
if you didn't have that, like-
Amityville's lunch.
They would have been
completely.
Paramount. They would have
If
been
you
Paranormal
didn't have that like
Activity.
quote unquote curse, you probably could have kept on going. I
It's
think
just
it's like
if they just didn't try to have the original cat, if they just tried to make it a different scenario with a different poltergeist, and a different
you
whatever,
could.
That
Yeah,
or
these-
honestly, and this might be more for pitch time, but if it was the same house, like the house, like if they
Well, you just build a
moving
new
around.
house. Yeah, I mean that
built a new
works like
house
with what
on
Steve's
each
saying.
time there's a
Different
new-
families.
You build a
Different
new house,
families,
or
yeah.
or just it's the same house, but it's in that neighborhood. They're all built like they're all the same house, over and over and over again, and the whole thing's on an Indian burial ground. So this is
Yeah.
gonna happen. This is gonna happen again and again to
Well,
different
two- and
families
I
on that
think
street.
two
I
is
mean, that's a
actually-
great way to do it.
2 is a good movie. Up until, for me, it's up until they show you the stuff that we didn't. It's the thing at the end of, Poltergeist 1, you wanted to see where Craig T. Nelson and Carol Ann were.
Yeah.
And it's that whole thing of don't give the audience what you know they really want to see.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the second
Yeah.
one called? The Other Side, right?
The Other Side, when you
we
actually
spend
see
about
the
we
other
spend about
side,
3 minutes on the other side,
And you're like, oh, come on.
Well,
yeah.
well, I mean, like there is something to be said. Like you want to see the poltergeist. You want to see like
The monster, yes, but
But it turns out that he's an old man that's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is the-
exactly?
Who is
But that
the
guy,
best?
oh god,
That
amazing.
follows him home from
He's
the wall.
creepy.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
creepy.
my gosh, that
Julian
guy.
Beck, yeah,
He's
amazing.
creepy.
We want to see Carol Ann.
Yeah.
You're gonna die in there.
I just can't get over that originally he finds them at the mall is what gets me. It's like, what is he haunting the mall? Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like, he's
Yeah.
follows them
Such an
home from the
after-school
mall.
special
Yeah,
feeling
he
when
should
that
have just
shit's
showed up at
happening.
the house. It's crazy that he's at the mall first.
Well,
I can't get
the
over
mall
that.
back in the '80s was like hell
Well,
on
the place
earth
to be. Yeah, right? yeah.
Damn punk kids in their mall.
He should have been
Shopping at the
walking
mall.
around being like, "What is happening? What is all of this?"
He's like, show him in the food court, like getting a corn dog.
"Oh my god!"
And an orange Julius.
The corn dogs will kill you.
Well, that would have been the most 80s thing, at the time. It would have been getting that like Wolfgang Puck pizza shit. Like
A McDonald's.
80s.
They're letting the Irish in here.
Homemade sushi. I can't believe I see the day. Some trendy shit. You telling me there's a microwave oven here?
Yeah. It's
That-
so weird.
There's a pitch. Just that guy can't believe it's
The
Captain
world
America
is
with him.
going on.
He's just got a notebook full of shit that he's got to like learn about. Like I have
He's
to
literally
learn
like
about
King of the
these
Hill before
Star
King of the Hill.
Wars films y'all children
that's-
are
that's-
talking about.
That's kind of what I mean, though, is that like the first one has so much cool shit, and there's a lot going on. The second one, they got to make it bigger and more, and there's not much more and bigger you could take it without it kind of getting goofy,
Yeah.
And
I
it-
mean,
Well,
there's
I
some
think that
fairness to
the fact that the fact that you made it the same family. I mean, I get it. You want to keep it like oh well, the first one did so well, so you want to keep the original cast. But I feel like that you're right. If it had been like another family and stuff, like you could have kept this going for quite a long. And Helga
could've.
Rubinstein would probably been
But
like
you-
the only.
But you know what did
But-
it though?
Yeah, it
but
should have been a great
what
thread.
made it so we couldn't actually do that was actual Halloween 3. Everything
Oh,
tried
yeah,
to
that's
do
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
because
true.
of because of what Halloween 3 tried to do, every other sequel that wanted to go down that route and should have, the studios are
Oh
like,
no, no,
Dude.
fuck that. None of them should have. I hate this. Like, it's so cool to love Halloween 3 thing. Like, it's
It
you
is.
know.
Let me
Halloween
ask
3
you
is-
real
Halloween 3
quick.
is great, but whatever.
If
No,
if-
no
if-
one thought
if
that.
Halloween
like,
2 hadn't been made,
Not then,
if it
no.
was just the original Halloween, and then whatever, 3, 4, 5 years out, Halloween 2 came out, and that was the season of the witch. Do you think that would have worked?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
Okay.
Because by
No,
that
but-
point, we
no,
had already
Halloween was
been like,
associated
we'd already
with
been
Michael
down the
Myers.
road. We'd already been to camp with Jason a couple times. You know what I mean? And like, Freddy hadn't happened yet, but like, we were in the slasher.
Well, see
Yeah.
what I'm saying
But
though. Is like
this is
that's
so
still,
di-
they want Michael Myers to be the, that
Well,
is the,
yeah.
Here's the
that
thing,
is the main
and-
character of those movies. That's what I'm saying is that the Poltergeist should be the main character of these movies.
Well, you're
It's
not wrong.
I
in
love
that
Craig
sense,
T.
but it could
Nelson,
still.
like, you
I think
shouldn't-
you split the difference. We use the word anthology. That means to me like completely disconnected. I think that you
No.
could have switched families. I'm glad they didn't because I love Craig T. Nelson and Joe Beth Williams. And what I was going to say is I think the real reason they couldn't do that in this particular case was that this little girl, Heather O'Rourke, give her stripes, give her credit, man. Like she was every bit as crucial as Drew Barrymore in E.T. or even like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. Like that's the one they had to see again. When it came to the third one, they're like, the parents, they can be gone. We need this little girl again, though. Like that little girl became the
Yeah.
star of the movie,
But how
Yeah.
cool would it have been if they had done it where you didn't have like you changed the family and everything else like that, but then like the the
Could've
second one
worked.
is
I'm
the
not
second
gonna lie.
one, and then maybe the third one, you bring them back. Maybe the third one, it's like they're literally like, let's say like there's hearing the stories of all these different families and this and that, whatever case may be, and they're just like, what, we started this, we have to end this, like, so to speak, or we were there from the
Jurassic
start.
Park 3 style.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Look
and then
into
and
that,
they
you
come
know.
back. They come back for the third one, and then like they kind of like help to overcome the big bad, so to speak. Maybe the uncle, maybe Tom. Ooh, how cool would it have been? Craig T. Nelson and fucking Tom Skerritt, in like together.
All right.
I will.
I'm liking
I will
that.
say this. This is the movie that I was always. We've talked about this when you know an actor from a movie, and they're in something else. You always say, "Oh, that's the guy from." For me, that was always Tom Skerritt. Is like, "Oh, that's the guy from Poltergeist 3." Like I always I would in Alien. It's like, "Oh, it's Poltergeist."
Poltergeist 3.
For some reason, even though I'd seen Alien, Tom Skerritt will always, to me, be the guy from The Other Sister. I know that's really weird, but I gotta get to the
That's
chat.
random.
I know
Other
that's really
Sister.
random.
That's
I gotta,
random.
I gotta get to the chat here. We've barely even touched on the sequels, and it's almost pitch time. But in the chat, we have Angie Saunders, the mashup genius, Monica Thyman, our favorite Swede from across the pond, Mikey Riffraff, the other mashup genius, Whiskey 41, great Alex Bonafonte, Steven Seagal's #1 fan, Caitlin Allman, America's Next Top Model, Sean Ellis, Gold's Code, the great Sean Gold, Patrick Murphy, Matthew Sharp. Thank you so much for tuning in, Matt Sharp. Cobra Kai
Yeah.
Never Dies, our good friend Joanne. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah.
Kicking it off, some fun facts about Craig T. Nelson doing prototype racing in the 90s, which I was not aware of. Angie Saunders saying a lot of the people on this movie died unexpectedly. Some were expected, but yes, many quite unexpectedly. I kind of believe in there's a couple of curses I believe in. I believe in the SNL curse, I believe in the Superman curse, and I believe in the Poltergeist curse. I don't know about all the other ones. There's probably
What's the
quite a few
SNL
other that are real.
curse?
The SNL curse. I mean, I believe in it less now because it's been a long time since anyone died young on SNL. But there were a lot of people that died way before their prime on SNL. Obviously, Belushi, Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, Gilda Radner. That's enough to make your fucking head tilt a little bit.
Like
Comedians
some of
and
those,
drugs in the 80s.
I was about to say some of those
yeah.
is drug related. Like it's so it's like
The curse
But
of
the
drugs.
Poltergeist curse. I mean, okay. Well, Heather O'Rourke was the only one who really like. What was the other?
Dominique Dunn was murdered.
Oh, Dominique Dunn. I forgot about Dominique Dunn. Yeah,
she
okay.
was strangled,
Dominique
right?
Dunn.
Heather O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Died before the movie came out.
The
Dominique
third one.
Dunn was
The third one,
Dominique
right?
Dunn was also murdered while someone was playing the soundtrack to the Poltergeist, like in the other room, to try and like ignore the argument she was having with her boyfriend, which is like an eerie detail.
That is kind of weird.
So
The
Julian
Indian
Beck, who
gentleman
plays
from
Julian
One
Beck, who
Flew Over
plays
the
Kane,
Cuckoo's
the
Nest?
Indian gentleman,
Yep.
Will Sampson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. A lot of people, and in weird ways where they would die before the movie comes out, after they've done filming, but before the release, and like that's just this makes just eerie about that. There were exorcisms performed on set that like apparently cleared up things when they like couldn't shoot on sound stages. Anyway, I mean the True Hollywood Story is on YouTube. I cannot recommend it enough. I think it's that and the Van Damme episode of the greatest episodes in True Hollywood Story history. But I also want to catch up, finish on the live chat. Whiskey says, I watched the first two on HBO shortly after the release. The third I caught bits of years later. Angie says, watched on VHS. Gold's Code, this movie was always on TV growing up. The clown is still scary. Sean Ellis, I saw the Poltergeist, the original movie, when I was 5 years old in kindergarten. It didn't faze me as a scary horror movie, but more of an informal documentary that had dead bodies used the pool scene. That's true. Some of the skeletons, a lot of the skeletons were real in these movies. And apparently, I think that happens more often than you would expect on
They
film
save money.
sets.
It's an industry secret. Yeah.
I think, I honestly, I just think it's a dirty industry secret. And Monica Thyman, I saw the first one in the movie theater. I liked it, but I did get scared. I love horror movies. So there's some more talk about Native American burial site, obviously, blah blah blah. Cold Scott, I heard the legend of you see airborne 13 times in a row, Ian's head will explode. So there are pitches, so we'll get to that.
Hear
in a
that part where
sec.
the guy's ripping off his face? That's how I feel watching Airborne. I rip off my face in the mirror and cry.
Those were Steven Spielberg's hands doing that.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the thing. I will say this. I must have watched Poltergeist first on like TNT or something, because I do remember a time where I don't remember it being that graphic. And then I watched it on video and I'm going like, what the heck? Like, this goes on for way more than I ever remember with him digging into his face.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I've heard stories that a lot of the, blockbusters and stuff would have edited versions of movies, and you wouldn't really be getting the real thing. And I'm sure that my first viewing of Toxic Avenger did not have the infamous head crushing scene, or many of the other scenes that are now iconic in that film. But yeah, I mean, I feel you on this. I remember watching this again, and my little Poltergeist story. This was a tape that was on a lot in the house growing up, and it was one of those like kind of accessible for horror movies in the '80s, like The Lost Boys, Lady in White, and Poltergeist got played a lot in my house growing up.
Yeah, what were some of the other accessible, young accessible movies you were
Monster Squad.
Monster
Squad. Yeah. Anything with like kids was basically like a more or less like a kid horror movie.
I never saw it, but I know Mr. Boogedy.
A lot. I mean, I remember HBO used to they'd always play Cat's Eye.
Yeah, a lot of that Stephen King stuff was kind of quasi-kid accessible.
Christine, stuff like
that.
I
wouldn't say that. I mean, that one scared the shit out of me when I was like 3 years old, but watch our Christine episode for more on that. But yeah, I mean, 1 and 2 specifically, I watched so many times growing up. They almost became inseparable to me. Like it was like one, like a Godfather saga, movie to me. And then the third one, I remember, I think that's the first time I was aware that like
movies can suck.
Well, not just that, but like people could like, you could have died to make a shitty movie. And she didn't die to make the movie. Her death had nothing to do with the making of the movie itself, but it just, I don't know. Obviously,
it reminds me of like Exorcist, like that franchise.
Yeah.
Like how it just goes like,
how it's great, and then it just kind of gets
honestly,
weird.
But that's
more RoboCop. Honestly, more RoboCop for me.
When you hit the first movie so hard like these do, sometimes it's hard to replicate that. I mean, well, Jaws. How do you make a sequel to Jaws? You just couldn't. It didn't matter. Jaws 2 itself is a good movie. I think
there's so many Spielberg movies that absolutely should have never had a sequel. Like Jurassic Park should have never had a sequel. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get those fucking people to go back to the island and you don't? Like, that's just so stupid.
Fat stacks of cash, Chris. Fat stacks of cash. They
like,
drop at their front door.
Anything like that is like so unbelievable. Whenever like some family or some character or whatever like that has gone through the worst shit ever, and then there's a part 2, and they're like, I'm back again, and it's like, yo, that's unrealistic.
If you retroactively watch these movies, the third one, she's with her aunt and uncle because inexplicably the parents. This makes the other movies terrible because Craig T. Nelson and Beth Williams. What's her name?
Jo Beth
Williams. Thank you. Apparently, we're just like, fuck this little girl, no more. We're done. We're out of here. She's gonna live with my fucking sister now.
Yeah,
like,
that is of course
that's awful.
Tough. That's a tough narrative point to start from in the third. The third.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's like RoboCop, which the first one's really, really great. The second one, people have different opinions on. Some people kind of like. I think it's all right at best.
It's all right.
It's lightning in a bottle.
Better than RoboCop 2, but yeah, the third one is like RoboCop 3 status. Yeah,
these were all lightning in a bottle movies that you're referring to that didn't have any business being necessarily as good as they were. To begin with, Jaws,
let alone being sequelized.
RoboCop. Fucking like you just say these things out loud. You get without knowing them with no context. And you're like Jaws, a shark comes to the beach and people get eaten by the shark, and you're like,
the best Jaws sequel is that Saturday Night Live bit, like Candygram.
Yeah. Same with RoboCop. It sounds so fucking stupid, just out of your mouth.
RoboCop 2,
it's funny. Some of these movies created like clones or like copycat movies that I actually cherish more, more so than the
Really, than the original?
originals. Like
Yeah.
for
What's-
example, like Jaws is a great movie, but you give me Piranha, and I'm like all over it. I'm like
3D
dude,
or like the
spawning.
original ones?
like the original Piranha.
Oh, okay,
I like
yeah.
that. Like I just remember watching that with my grandma who spoke no English, and she just like threw on the TV to just babysit me basically, or like basically like because I'd pleaded like I wanted to watch TV, but she would only throw it on like two channels. Fox,
Okay.
no, Channel 5, but and then also, but it wasn't Fox back then. But and then it was Channel 11, WPIX, which became CW, whatever the case may be. So those are the only two channels. And on those two channels, like 5 would show you nothing but like in the afternoons, like black and white, it would show you like King Kong movies, it would show you like gargoyles, it would show you like all these like bad
Gargoyles.
it would show you all these like bad horror movies, or like Tarzan would be on there. So Piranha was like I never saw Jaws, I saw Piranha. Like Piranha was the
That's so
thing. Like
funny.
it was only years later that I be like found out about Jaws. So I only knew about Piranha. And Piranha was like like young me watching this on like regular TV, which it wasn't like
So-
so.
Did you think
Go
of
ahead.
Amityville as like the Piranha to Poltergeist then, or something?
Yeah, like I think like I prefer Amityville to
Okay.
Poltergeist.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Amityville
Like-
came first, to be fair, just to
Yeah.
be technical about it.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I feel like what happened was when the Poltergeist movie stopped happening, Amityville was like, wait a minute, we're back in this, guys. Let's make the mirror and the lamp and the dollhouse and the HVAC. These are all things that are haunted. The clock is haunted.
Amityville HVAC. Get out of here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't wait till we do an Amityville episode because it's gonna be fun.
Amityville's rough.
I'm gonna
because-
pitch
You can't do
Amityville
it.
Trailer Park.
You can't do
but-
it. There's 17 of those movies, and you
Oh,
can't.
dude, you
it's
can
hard to
absolutely
figure out-
pitch
You
Amityville,
only
Winnebago,
need to
but
do
we'll get to
you
it.
only need to do one and the Ryan Reynolds remake, and
So
I'm
it's-
good. I'm
no,
done
it's
after
pitch-
that.
Well, it's pitch time for Poltergeist, and there's a lot in the chat. But one I gotta say before I forget is this just came to me while you were talking, Mickey. And we were talking about RoboCop, and honestly, I've pitched body swap comedies. I don't know if I've ever pitched sequel swaps, but that's what I'm about to do because I think that RoboCop and Poltergeist might have both been better served to switch movies, to switch their sequels, right? If it was RoboCop 2, The Other Side, I feel like that could have been a little bit more interesting, a little bit more leaning
Explain
into the Frank
yourself. I
Miller
don't-
side of
what are you
things.
talking about?
Yeah.
So,
No,
Well,
I
what
don't want
is
you to
the-
explain one dang word. Just leave it there and let's.
let the audience
No,
think
I
about
want to
that.
know. I want to know what would have been the other side.
got
The other side, you're seeing more into like the robo consciousness. Like what else? Like where does that like where is the gray area between like living and dead that what plane of existence is he even on? It's the other side. I think there could be some interesting shit going on there, and you could have had some of the larger questions of RoboCop 2 still addressed. And then not have so much of the poopy or side
Do you
of
think that
RoboCop 2.
the existential reality of his subconscious and his being as this entity that's never been formed or existed before, and the depths of that is more interesting than him shooting people and blowing up bad guys?
I don't know. I just think RoboCop 2 is
He
just
wants Carol Ann
RoboCop
to
2
have guns and be blowing people away.
No, like where does RoboCop like? What if RoboCop got unplugged for a little while and then they plugged him back in? What happens
Like
when
a
he's
coma,
unplugged?
like a
the
coma.
Phantom Zone, like RoboCop in the Phantom Zone. Like he goes there and he comes back, and
That would've
something
been
else comes
awesome.
out of that world, out of the other side, and that's a more interesting third act than Kane Nuke. I mean, he
Yeah.
literally fights a thing that's called RoboCop 2. Come
So
on.
that's like the long
So that's the RoboCop side of it.
So
the
Carol
Poltergeist
Ann
side
is
of it.
battling drug dealers with Nuke?
No, it's Zelda Rubinstein,
I don't know what you're
of
doing.
course. Zelda,
Zelda-
man.
Zelda?
The Legend of Zelda. Like fucking
I don't think you've thought this all the way through, Chris.
I'm making this up as I go, but it's fucking gold. I know enough to know when my farts smell great. Zelda Rubinstein is just cleaning up old Detroit, and she's taken out OCP, and she's taken to the streets, and she's had enough of this nuke in this bullshit. And she's, you know, like just all those lines, just where is Kane? You know,
Oh
and
my
it's still
God.
Kane.
Oh my
Good
gosh,
cut.
she literally she has a Gatlin machine gun, like Terminator 2 style.
And
Blows
Julian
everybody
Beck's
away,
Kane.
and then literally looks at the camera. This street is clean.
Love it. I love it. And in the
But
sequel,
you need to do something else. You need to throw in fucking Teen Witch. Like she needs to bring Teen Witch into the mix too.
Stop,
I'm okay
you
with
guys
it.
in this Teen Witch, stop trying to make that movie a thing. Sabrina
That movie's
is what works.
great.
Teen
Oh,
Witch.
get out of here.
Teen
Get
Witch
outta
You
movie
picked
did
a
not work.
weird way to execute that as that like
God
assault,
dang
that
it.
character
I missed something.
assassination
I must have
on
missed some
yourself.
episodes here. Teen Witch. All right, somebody
yeah,
pitch something.
I think I
that's-
missed some
that's-
episodes.
Somebody pitch
too.
something else.
All right,
okay.
I literally think the only I mean, and I'm just gonna say it, that remake never happened. All right, there is no
Yes, agreed. Of course.
So,
Duh.
but I really honestly like I would have preferred that movie if they had done what I think would be the sequel, which is they rebuild a new house on that plot, and not that it's a recycle, but they didn't move the bodies. The whole secret of that end of movie is we knew that the bodies were supposed to be removed. They actually didn't remove the bodies again.
Again, yeah. Oh,
You know,
I believe that. Yeah, totally.
And
So
so
if the poltergeist can do anything, if the poltergeist can be a tree that rips children out of the thing,
I think it'd be better if it was
then
just. I think it'd be
it's
better if it
endless.
was just one body. Like there's one poltergeist. Like there's one body that is causing all of this havoc.
That's
Well,
kind of what
wasn't it
they-
really one? I mean, it was
Very
the
Stephen
Beast.
King-ish,
Like,
but-
like, yeah, like there was really only one, but like per se.
You think Stephen King watched this and was like, "What the fuck, guys? Come on."
Well,
Really?
him and
Yeah.
Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg.
Yeah, he watched it like this.
They were trying to do a
Yeah,
horror
right,
haunted
yeah.
house.
What the fuck you doing?
They were trying to do a haunted house. for years, yeah.
Fair enough. So there are some pitches in the chat. I don't want to neglect our fine audience here. First pitch comes from the Mash of Geniuses, Mike and Angie. Their pitch, set in the mid-90s, I like it already, in South Dakota, a cell tower is built on an infamous outlaw's grave. His spirit possesses the tower, enabling him to terrorize a Native American reservation who fights back with help from the tribe's shaman. I love this. The cell phone
good.
thing, I think you could exploit that too. They could be getting
like
into people's cells. It's like that movie Pulse with Cliff DeYoung.
Well, it makes sense, right? It comes to the TV in the first, like the TV's a big conduit for this thing, to like talk to her and whatever else, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Satellite.
like,
Oh.
Anything that creates white noise.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Poltergeist, stay
All
tuned
those white
with
noise
John Ritter.
machines. Like those white noise machines that people like go to like sleep with, like they literally
Oh,
have
yeah.
a thing. It can be fucking talking to them and they're.
Do any of you, whenever you remember back in the day, though, if you did see the white snow on the TV, did any of you like secretly hope?
After
You're like,
Poltergeist, after
Take me.
Poltergeist, the white snow on the TV freaked me out.
Me too. Same, bro.
Yep.
I'll tell you, you know what still freaks me out to this day? If I'm ever watching a random tape or piece of analog something, and it's like you let the movie play and you're not paying attention, and it's dead quiet, and then all of a sudden you hear like a dialing of a phone number on speed dial.
Oh,
that
yeah.
used to
Oh,
freak
my
me the
God.
fuck out.
But
Kids
you know, like,
today do
back in
not
the day-
understand. Yeah.
You remember back in the day when cable would go out, it would be snow. It would,
Would
it
be,
would,
yeah.
it would,
Yeah.
and
And
that
eventually
was
the
like,
the channel would run out. It would eventually
Yeah.
go to that. Yeah, that's
Oh, totally, yeah. And that was it was always scary. Next pitch though from Gold's Code. You may want to cover your ears, Ian. His pitch.
Been there, done that.
Mitchell transfers schools only to realize that his new home is built on a cursed skate park. Now he must face the real devil in Devil's Backbone in a downhill race in Polterborn. Oh, I love it.
Girl.
I thought he was going to go Airgeist. I never know how he's going to execute these titles, but I'm always pleasantly surprised. Whiskey 4-1 with the next pitch. His pitch. A Kyrgyzstani strip club owner is dealing with more ladies bumping the floorboards. It turns out cheapening out on property cost is biting him on the ass. Steven Seagal in Poltergeist, pole like strip pole. So okay, so
Got
okay,
it.
okay.
you know what? I'm just you give me Poltergeist set in a
Kyrgyzstani.
strip club, I'm okay with it. As long as Robert Davi is the manager and it's the strip club from Showgirls, I'm okay with it. Absolutely. He has to tell the ghost, not even if you give me a fucking blowjob. As long as there's that line, then it's
So then
Academy
Dan
Award.
Aykroyd comes in and he's like, "What are we talking about?" What's it? I knew it. I knew it the whole time.
The whole
I told you.
time.
I told you.
Was did you guys ever see the TV show? Like
Which one?
Poltergeist the
Oh, I
Legacy?
forgot about
No,
that.
there was a
No.
show.
That's
There was a
right. It was a
show.
Showtime
See,
show.
and I never watched it, but what I always remember hearing though is that it's not really a sequel to the show.
I think it's more that anthology, separate. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
like
it might even be a bit of prequel. I want to say
we took a name and they just took the Poltergeist name.
the National Lampoon's.
Well,
Presents.
it's like they had to connect. Well, it's because Spielberg like copyrighted the Poltergeist name that they had to use the name in order for it to be. Like, I remember reading something. It's like it wasn't supposed to be Poltergeist, but it was so close it was going to get sued.
Yeah, exactly.
Poltergeist.
Mickey, yeah.
Like it was weird. It was like
more
gonna sue
money,
you.
more money, more
so
money.
they had to pay. They had to pay to get the Poltergeist title in order to not be sued.
Okay.
Like it's a weird convoluted thing, but
sounds give me Lawnmower Man vibes, and I don't.
It kinda,
giving me the shits.
But I
The
mean,
third one of these movies gives
the
me
way that
Lawnmower
I
Man
thought
vibes.
it should be is, which in a weird way, this movie kind of predates Ghostbusters, but we do kind of have our first kind of collegiate Ghostbusters in this movie.
The special effects of this movie must have been something that whoever was doing them for Ghostbusters.
I think it's Richard Edlund. Yes, I believe.
It is Richard Edlund.
I
yeah.
think it's the same guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes a ton of
That's
sense.
and so to me, it should be that team. I would love to see that team going house to house and doing different poltergeists.
Yeah.
With that team, because I thought they were really they really are a cool.
Do you remember? Like I'm gonna
Totally.
throw one at you, and like you guys gotta help me with this. Like, do you remember the Joey Lawrence movie that was like
Pulse with Cliff
it was
DeYoung?
Pulse.
Yes, I was just talking about this.
Where he gets shot with the bolt,
electricity,
in his head.
the volt.
Oh,
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
I know this movie too.
I made Steve watch this on Tubi recently. Yeah.
I never knew the name of it, but like for some reason
Pulse,
we're talking about this. It just
We
came
should
back
do
in my
Pulse.
memory.
We really should do
You
Pulse. That's a
bastard.
cool
What do you want? I mean,
Nobody would
there's
have
gonna be
any
more people
idea what we
on
were
the
talking
show
about.
than watching it if we do Pulse. I love it. I love Pulse. But like, let's just
We are the Pulse audience. That's
maybe you have a point there. And there are more pitches in the chat.
I remember
though.
watching that movie on HBO late night and being more freaked out about that movie.
See
than
that?
I love
Poltergeist.
that
No,
movie.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. That was an HBOer during the day. It was a kids horror movie because of Joey Lawrence, so they'd play it during the day.
Oh, by the way, also on that kids horror shelf was like Making Contact. That was like another one that's sort of kidly accessible. I feel like Troll. There was quite a few Vestron movies that were sort of on that list. Any rate, the next pitch comes from another mashup genius in the chat, Matthew Sharp. Matt Sharp's pitch is: we see Jack Nicholson's son play the new Reverend Kane, or maybe Jack Nicholson himself, play the new Reverend Kane as the poltergeist sweeps through an unsuspecting family at the new Stanley Hotel. So I love that. I love the crossovers. There's a few more of them in the pitches in the chat. Also, Dustin Nino of Retro Fiend Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dustin. Since first time I saw this was on TV a bunch of times. He says love Mickey's Legion of Doom poster. But Rand with another crossover pitch. He says, what if the body in the ground was from Texas Chainsaw? So I kind of like that the Hooperverse. Like, if you can somehow tie Poltergeist, Life Force, and Texas Chainsaw all together, like, oh my God, just take my fucking money. That's the Meatballs thing that you love, Ian. You want Dempsey and Bill Murray and Corey Feldman, all high-fiving each other.
I pitched something like this to you a while ago, Chris, writing-wise.
Did you?
Where it was like slasher meets Poltergeist, essentially. Where like these essentially it was like multiple final. I don't remember what the idea was or whatever. It wasn't all that good, but it was that. But some part of it was good. It was like multiple final girls or whatever, like multiple final people of these movies that had been, previously had happened have come together, and then they mix in this like unstoppable slasher with a poltergeist kind of house and like all these different supernatural.
Okay, I'm starting
What,
to remember this now.
Shocker?
It was a lot. No, Steve
You
was
doing
a
a
lot.
Shocker?
Oh yeah,
Steve
Shocker.
pitched me. Steve pitched me
I
like
pitched you
9
Shocker.
movies in one movie. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and it was still Shocker.
What if
No,
we did Shocker?
there's Shocker, but there's also the House 3, which was called the Horror Show, where it was Brian James was a ghost that like haunts the sheriff who arrested him, like Poltergeist style.
Oh,
Like,
wow, Brian James, deep cut.
oh
Man.
yeah, but like I always, but like I said, I think it would be cool to see this ghost team going to different houses, and you could have those scenarios. It's like, what's the poltergeist of this house?
Oh my god! But what if
Like
you
the-
did
a
like a
cop shot,
poltergeist now? If you, I
Oh,
feel
I
like,
like
if you
that,
did
It's
a,
actually
yeah.
been a great '90s TV show, like a they got a because the Ghost Whisperer and
Yeah, like kind of like a
Medium and all
monster of
these
the
kinda
week sort of
shows.
thing.
I feel like if
Following-
you did a poltergeist now, you would have to include some form of fucking ghost hunters or ghost adventurers kind of
that's-
group.
That's
going
Zelda
into
Rubinstein in her team, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah. okay.
Oh, she has
Exactly,
to.
go-
She would
going
have been
back
the
to the
one
house.
movie person
They
that would
get
have.
her.
She would
So,
have been the one
wait.
movie person to actually do the TV show movie version.
Dude,
Zelda
what if
really
you
would've
do
been-
what if you do Halloween 8, but you do it with Poltergeist? So you literally have Helda Rubinstein, like a group, like a TV group or production group, want to get people in the fucking Poltergeist house for the night to see what happens.
Poltergeist Resurrection. Oh,
Resurrection,
no.
yeah,
Sick man.
Oh,
get it.
Busta
You
Rhymes.
sick man.
Get
You
Busta
sick
Busta,
bastard.
get it.
Not even Josh Hartnett's haircut could save something like that. Jesus Christ.
Dude,
Fuck
get
me.
it.
That man
So
could
you
save
could-
anything.
Yeah.
Dude, you get you and you literally put the dude Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures or whatever like that. Like he's a guy or
So
whatever
a
like
lot
that.
of people. Oh, sorry.
No,
I like
I'm just
that.
saying, like, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I would be down for
you
watch
know,
that.
honestly,
It'd be
I
silly,
would
but
love-
I'd watch it.
Another
would watch
version. Another version I would love, because he's at the point now he can do whatever he wants. It's like, why don't Steven Spielberg do a remake and you direct it this time? Like, do the movie you wanted to do the first round.
I think that'd be kind of insulting to Toby Hooper at this point.
No, not to Spielberg. He didn't care the first round. Why do you care now? But like,
he didn't care 40 years ago. He's
yeah,
not
I
gonna
didn't
care now.
now. But like, truthfully, like, he's always wanted to do a hardcore horror movie. He just has always.
And he should have fucking done Indiana Jones in a haunted house, and I'll never get over the fact that he didn't. But that's maybe for another day. Maybe we'll do
Is
an
Toby
I
Indiana
think
Hooper
it's too
still
late for
making-
Steven
still making
Spielberg
movies?
to make that.
No, he
is
passed
still making.
away.
Oh, he
Yeah,
passed
I
away.
agree
Okay.
with Mickey. Yeah, I think he's.
It's too late for Steven Spielberg to.
I
come
think
out with,
Ready
like, a
Player
horror
One.
movie.
I think Ready Player One was evidence that, like, yeah, he's probably better off doing these, like, horse whisperer movies or whatever the fuck they are, war horse,
Schindler's
or
List,
yeah,
stuff like that.
that
War
kind of
Horse
stuff.
is a good movie. How dare you?
West Side
Of,
Story.
of,
you just
of
did West
course
Side
you
Story.
would, yeah. It's called War Horse, so I'm never gonna see it. I don't care. It's called War Horse.
Chris is
How
terrified
sad
of
is it that
horses.
like Steven Spielberg right now can make a new movie and like I'm not even like thinking like I'm gonna go watch that.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
the last couple he's put out.
Sad state of
haven't seen-
affairs.
yeah.
Yeah, even like the Meet the Fablemans thing felt like it came a little too late. Like I would have been really psyched on that 10 years earlier.
Scumbags. I
What's
like.
the one? What's the one he just put out? It's the one single shot of.
Oh, that's Zemeckis.
Oh,
You're
that's
thinking of
Zemeckis,
Zemeckis,
right.
That's
yeah.
here.
Zemeckis.
Yeah. that's
Yeah.
the-
Well, fucking man. I'm still,
Anyway,
I'm still
there-
confusing them for the
I
last
know,
30
I know.
years.
Well, Spielberg had that game. People thought Back to the Future was a Spielberg movie. They thought Poltergeist was a Spielberg movie. Him and John Hughes could produce movies, and people thought they directed them. That says a lot about their
Because it had
power.
it had the feel. They
Yeah.
they were in control in the editing room, and I agree. Back to the Future probably has same rhythm as,
Yeah.
it just
Oh,
has that
totally,
effect.
yeah.
It just had that
Yeah.
effect. I mean,
The Goonies feels like a Spielberg movie. Richard, these are great filmmakers, Zemeckis and Donner, and you're like Spielberg's
Yeah,
puppet in
yeah.
the sense that you're kind of but they do. I'm not saying that they don't deserve their credit for these movies. Donner is the secret sauce of why the Goonies works, and I think Zemeckis is very much that as well for Back to the Future. But that's for another day. Another pitch again from Dustin Nino of Retrofiend Radio, makers of the finest canon and martial arts docs on the interwebs. You can catch Dustin on last week's episode with the great Sam Furstenberg, and close to his pitch, Secret Ninja Cult built atop the Freeling's old neighborhood, awakens ancient spirits. Now it's Ninja versus Poltergeist. I love this. This is like what they wanted Ninja 3 to be. Only a ghost fighting American ninja can save the day. Directed by Sam Furstenberg. Oh, take my money. If it's starring Steve James, you could take my house too. You can take my life, and I'll be okay with it. Goddamn, I just love that. That's fantastic. So another thing I was saying, if in any way it can be a Poltergeist movie or not a Poltergeist movie, but I need this pitch to exist on the internet. I need Zelda Rubinstein and Anne Ramsey and Linda Hunt in like some road movie, like they're criminals, they're like Thelma and Louise, they're ghost hunters,
Like the Sisterhood of the Stolen Pants,
whatever.
or like
They're
Sisterhood of
they're
the Traveling Pants, or
Some of them
whatever.
are horror movie staples,
for
at
the
this
sake
point.
The
of
Thelma and
VCR.
Louise.
Yeah, they're going around killing poltergeists. I don't know, or something.
Also, it's like
Oh,
supernatural.
You could have them
yeah,
like the
like
First
Supernatural,
Wives Club. The First Wives Club.
Oh my God! Anything with those three, I'm game. And the sequel, you could add in
Sex in the City.
No,
you know what that? Who's the one you were saying to add in, Steve?
Oh, what's her name from God, I can't even think of the movie she does now. The Conjure. She was in Kingpin.
Oh, Lin Shaye. Yeah, Lin Shaye is
Shaye.
the fourth
Yeah.
one. I mean,
Yes.
and boom, you have the
Yeah.
four horsewomen
That
of the apocalypse.
is-
I'm so
No, that is the original script of Hocus Pocus, starring those four ladies.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Give me the
Really.
horror version
Anything.
with those, the Expendables,
The hard R Hocus Pocus.
the
with those four
Expendables
women. Yeah.
version of those ladies.
Yeah.
Oh, what if the first? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, now we're gonna have to do a First Wives Club because now I need to pitch. What if they were all ghosts? And it'll be the worst pitch I've ever done since my cousin Vinny episode where I pitched a dead Joe Pesci in the
First
courtroom.
Wives Club was
Oh,
a good
God.
movie.
Angels in the Outfield style. It was terrible. It was terrible. Yeah.
I gotta go back and watch that episode.
We were there. It was pretty bad.
It was really the worst thing I've ever done. I think.
I
in
don't
my
know.
life.
I just think that there's something to like. I know I've talked to Chris about this. There are some movies where people were so good in the roles that they inhabited, like people were born for certain roles. And Zelda Rubinstein with this movie, like, give her the Oscar just because, like, you
No
saw
one else.
the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Is she still alive?
No,
I
I
don't
think
think
she
so,
passed
yeah.
away.
I'm pretty
Passed
sure.
away. Like, yeah.
But like this is like that she stole the movie and she didn't even have to do anything. It just
She's iconic for this role. Like,
yeah,
like,
she was perfect. I mean, and she's not even
She's iconic, like period for like
She's not even
that,
in
for
it
like
very
Teen
long. I
Witch,
mean,
for like
she's
just her
in-
voice alone.
Yeah, she's in it. She's in it way more in Poltergeist 3 than she is in Poltergeist
Yeah.
1. I mean,
But you can talk like her and say lines from this movie, and people it's just like a pop culture reference. Like people,
yeah.
it's like they're here,
Carolyn, Carolyn.
Yeah.
These are classic movies, though. I mean, they are.
I love that part with Steve. It's like, I'm gonna go. You've never done this before. Neither have you. That's right. You go.
Craig T. Nelson's got a lot of great shit in this too. He's kind of an underrated dude. I don't think did he ever do anything else besides this in Coach? Because I can't think of anything.
He
But,
was
like-
in the movie The Skulls, Action Jackson. I mean, put some
Action
respect
Jackson.
on. Yeah.
How dare you? I love him as
Grayson,
Family
thank you.
Stone. He's great.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Family
That's
Stone.
right.
Yep.
No, he's done other stuff. Yeah.
Coach was probably his biggest like.
Yeah.
He's Coach. I mean, that's just kind of what.
I mean, I will, just for the sake of the full Nelson title, I have to pitch one where like him and Joe Beth Williams got divorced. He was like hiding out at a university and coaching the football team
Oh,
there.
he's a drunk. He's drunk.
And then he got drunk and he got fired. And that one player who was Moon in The Stand, who was in like every app, like, I don't know, coach, I'm a 45-year-old college football player. That guy. It's just them in this Poltergeist, and I don't care. It's any coach tie-in, Coachergeist. I don't know.
I'm surprised you didn't get like a coach
episode
episode where there was a poltergeist or some ghost or whatever like that. That would have been
There probably is.
Been.
There probably is. No one's seen Coach. No one's watched that series.
There's a deleted scene where Coach is doing.
Joe Beth Williams isn't an episode. I mean, they do kind of do that reunion a little bit here and there.
I love Joe Beth Williams, and I'm sad to say that the only other thing I can really think of her in, other than this, is Dutch off the top of my head.
The Big Chill, man. Come on.
Of course, right. The Big Chill.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that one of these days. Well, I don't know if we did it, but we may have done it. We may have. I think we did it.
Anything is better than the remake. So
exactly. Yeah, there you go. So we did it. We
could pitch a mouse farting, and that would be better than the remake.
Well, if they'd done the remake with Ryan Reynolds, it would have been good.
I do like that Amityville Horror remake. I do. I
think it was kind of
good in
fun.
that.
It was good. That was some good acting by Ryan Reynolds.
We're past 10 o'clock. I don't need to keep the show running for you guys to talk about this. Good Lord. Anyone got anything coming up they want to let the people at home know about?
Chris
any
is
Crash
better
Room
articles in the next episode. Jeez.
Sure. Yeah. If you're nostalgic, we're gonna do some new stuff. That's movie Stream 2. We're gonna be in the sequel to that movie Stream. We're gonna do a title track and that. This one's actually gonna be like a bigger one. I think we're gonna go down. We're gonna shoot a video for it with the Stream guys down in Asbury Park at the theater that Kevin Smith owns. So hopefully maybe we'll run to Kevin Smith.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you're nostalgic for that 2000s pop punk, we did a lot of that, and it's called. I just got a bunch of these in here. So
awesome.
we put this out last year, and then the new one will be out sometime this year. New EP.
You can have a little piece of Zangief in your home, folks.
You can.
It's a dream that we all have.
You're welcome.
Ian, what's any articles coming out? Anything coming up?
Yeah, check out this week's B Movie Challenge article on Fandom Spotlight for the Cannonball Run sequel that doesn't star Burt Reynolds but stars John Candy, that John Candy himself didn't want to be promoted as a John Candy movie, called Speed Zone, or known overseas as Cannonball Fever. So check that
I
one.
thought this was gonna be Armed and Dangerous, maybe.
Armed and Dangerous. Oh God, take my money now. That's a scene.
We should do a Cannonball or Smokey and the Bandit episode.
No. We're gonna do Smokey and the Bandit 3. Smokey is the bandit.
The fucking weirdest quote ever, but I love it. There's so many things about Bogus Journey that are just the best.
Smokey is the bandit.
The bandit.
It's, you know what? One day Captain Kyle might let us do a Bill and Ted episode, even though there was a sequel to that recently.
I love that movie.
Well, I guess that being said, then it must be time for me to say that you Fandom fans might want to tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when we feel things out like a blind man in an orgy for our Naked Gun episode. As always, I know, rejoice. Let the people rejoice. Let me borrow 10. Here, take 10. You go, I'll tell you. As always, if you enjoyed this video,
how dare you?
Kid Colorado is from Texas, right? That was his brother from Houston. Yeah. The best way to help is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise you want us to cover in a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight and Pop Culture Punk. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs. We'll see you at the movies.
Don't go into the light, Carol Ann!